Hello, welcome back to More to the Story. I'm your host, Janna Maron. In addition to this podcast, I also publish a literary arts magazine called Under the Gum Tree. We publish creative nonfiction and visual art quarterly in digital and print. You can learn more about the magazine, subscribing and submitting your work to be considered for publication at underthegumtree.com. And I'm also a book coach and editor for women writing nonfiction. You can learn more about me and working with me at moretothestory.co. This episode is brought to you by Cafe Santoro. I'm going to be talking about it on every podcast episode because I want you to order and try the coffee that I love so much. Yes, it certainly is a wonderful little treat and privilege to have access to unlimited, high-quality, custom roasted coffee from a boutique coffee roaster who also happens to be your parents. And that's my case. And I've been working on supporting them by helping them set up their online shop where you can shop online for whole bean coffee. So you can go to cafesantoro.com/Janna and enjoy 10% off your first purchase. Of course, I'm always talking about the decaf, but there's lots of other options there too. If you don't drink decaf or you prefer regular, you prefer a dark roast, you prefer a light roast, we have it all. So go check it out, cafesantoro.com/Janna. It's cafe, C-A-F-F-E, Santoro, S-A-N-T-O-R-O, with two F's in the word cafe because it's Italian. And the literal translation is coffee the Santoro way. And so when you buy coffee from us, you are getting a little taste and a little experience of how we do coffee in the Santoro family. I also realized in the last couple episodes, I haven't been doing a very good job in inviting you to more deeply into what I have to offer. So as you've been listening, and if you are starting to feel like, yeah, I really need some more help, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck, but you're not ready to make a big commitment, I totally get it. The best place for you to start is with my masterclass. My masterclass is called 3 Shifts You Need to Make to Finally, what is it called? Look at how bad I am at promoting my own stuff. It's called Finally Write and Finish Your Book, 3 Shifts You Need to Make. It's about 90 minutes long, and it's an introduction to my coaching philosophy, the process, the program, the framework that I use to support my clients in making the changes that they need to make to move forward and accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish in their writing life and specifically with their book project. So now that I said all of that, the URL is moretothestory.co/masterclass. It's $47. So it's very low cost, very easy, low barrier to entry. Head on over to moretothestory.co/masterclass and you'll get immediate access to the recording to watch and rewatch as much as you want on your own time. Okay? It's the best way that I know how to support you to get started without feeling like you have to do a big investment with someone like me. And so you can check that out and see if just a little bit more in-depth information with my approach and implementing some of those things that I'm talking about in that masterclass starts to make some change for you. Okay, so today let's talk about how to not play small. And I also realized I've been doing this thing where I record 2 podcasts a day. Like I just sit down and record 2 episodes back to back because if I'm sitting in front of my computer, recording, talking, I can pretty much knock out a couple episodes in a row. And I'm trying to batch my production, right? Excuse me while I take a sip of water. I'm trying to batch my production and stack when I'm doing things. So I'm going to do more than one recording together and then sit down and process them and get them ready and scheduled to publish, do all that work separately and together. The whole reason that I'm bringing this up is maybe it feels a little irrelevant to you, but I recorded this episode the same day I recorded last week's episode, and I realize now that last week I said, maybe I'm still releasing this in April. And then when I looked at the calendar, it turns out, nope, last week was May 5th and this week is May 12th. So I'm recording mid-April and these are episodes for May, which yay me for being so ahead of schedule here, but it throws me off when I am trying to talk about the dates and when things are going to be releasing and whatnot. I got to get better at that. So thanks for hanging in there with me. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for just letting me let this be like easy and raw and like you're just getting the real me here. And that's the way we're going to do it. So this is still another conversation that I had with someone at AWP. This idea of not playing small. And I didn't really frame it as like stop playing small when I talked to her, this woman. But as I was like taking notes and deciding, okay, how I'm going to incorporate this into a podcast episode, that's what came up for me was like, okay, she's playing small, and I'll explain how and why I have that perspective, because she came for one of the 15-minute mini book coaching consults that I did at AWP, and she's sitting down and she has an essay collection, different person from last week. So even though we're still talking about someone with an essay collection, this is a different person. This person working on an essay collection, I forget how many essays she said she has. It's not important. The important thing is that she feels like it's almost done. She feels like she has 3 more essays to write. Many of the ones that have already been written have already been published in journals. And so she's kind of trying to think about next steps for when the collection is done and ready to start sending out to publishers, and how to do that, and what should she do, and how should she evaluate publishers, and should she start querying or trying to submit now, or should she wait until the manuscript is done, and should she wait to finalize the manuscript until these 3 essays are done and published. Like she wants to finish these 3 essays, see if she can get them published, and then come back around to finalize the manuscript and start sending the manuscript out. And so we're kind of talking around all of this for a little while. And, you know, the fact that she's already got most of these essays published and she already knows what the last 3 essays are going to be, I think at least 1 or 2 of them is maybe in progress. She's like in good shape. I'm sort of feeling a little bit like, you don't need a lot of advice from me. Like you kind of got it figured out. You know, maybe once the essays are completed, I said you could start sending out the complete manuscript and do that in parallel with trying to get those last 3 essays published, because you can have a parallel path where you're trying to submit these 3 essays for publication and you're trying to submit the complete manuscript for publication. Because let's say your manuscript gets accepted, it's going to be at least a year before the manuscript comes out, and maybe the last 3 essays will be accepted and published in that time frame. You still have, you know, like my brain just goes straight to let's make the most of the time. Like you don't need to, it doesn't have to be so linear and processed, like wait for one thing to finish and then start the next thing. So we're kind of just talking around those ideas initially. And then I don't even remember how it came up, but she says, oh, and I kind of have an agent. And I was like, what? What do you mean you kind of have an agent? And she explained, I don't remember the specifics, but it was something like a couple years ago. She was at a writing conference, one of those types where there were agents and you could meet with an agent if you wanted to. And she had already had a couple of essays published. And so she met with this agent, but you know, it was long enough ago to where she didn't have enough material for a complete manuscript. But the agent said, well, when you're ready, reach out and let me know. And I just said, okay, hold on here. You buried the lead. Because yeah, you should do that now. And I said, if there are any other agents that you want to reach out to, just because this one person has invited you to reach out to them doesn't mean you shouldn't reach out to anyone else. You should do your research, find out if there are any other agents that you would like to query. Obviously query and reach out to the person who invited you and who has already expressed interest, but see if there's anyone else who expresses interest, because what could happen is, let's say that first agent who has already expressed interest and said, yes, please let me know when you're ready. You reach out to that person, you talk to them, maybe they offer representation. Meanwhile, you have another 5, 10, 15, 20, I don't know how many additional queries sitting out there. Maybe you've heard passes or no's from a couple, but you have a handful of lingering queries out there. Now you can go back to those queries and say, hey, I have an offer. Are you interested? And that will frequently trigger and basically prompt them to respond either with a yes or an invitation to a conversation. And maybe you end up with more than one offer for representation as a result. This has happened. I have heard about this happening. I don't know how common it is, but I'm just going to say it, that regardless of where you are on your querying journey, if you are querying and you get an offer, you should absolutely follow up with any agent you have not heard back from to let them know, hey, I've gotten an offer, and find out if that shakes loose some other interest. Because what happened, it's natural. Like, as soon as they know that, oh, someone else is interested, that means I better take a look and give this some serious consideration. And now you are in a position to really evaluate and pick the best choice for you, rather than feeling like, oh my gosh, this is the only offer, I better take it because I'm not going to get anything else. Because your agent is going to work for you. You are doing the hiring. And so when you're looking for someone to hire, wouldn't you like to have, more than one applicant for the job? You never hire just the first person who applies, right? Okay, so I said all of this to her, and I also said you can start doing that work now, because you have all these essays that have already been published. That's going to give you a greater chance of getting a deal for the essay collection, because essay collections are hard to sell. Let's just be frank. Essay collections are hard to sell if you're not somebody who is already established or has a name for yourself. And they typically go to small presses or university presses, or presses that are definitely like much more strictly literary publishers, literary being distinctly different from commercial publishers, like the big publishers with the books that go big, right? It's just nature of the market. There's less of a market for those type of books, because your general reader is looking for a story from start to finish. They want to be taken on a story. They want to be taken on a journey. So now I've lost my train of thought. I apologize. I told this woman that, because the essays that she has for the collection so far all of them have been already published. That's going to look much more attractive to publishers when they're considering whether to take on the manuscript. And if she wants an agent, because she probably has another book in her, if she thinks she wants an agent, she should start now, especially since someone already expressed interest in her. And this is, as I was thinking about all of this and this, the way things transpired for this woman, and I came up with this idea, like playing small. It's not something that we think to ourselves, oh, I'm going to keep myself small. We don't do that intentionally or consciously. But we think things like, oh, I'm not sure I can do that. I'm not sure if, it's been like 5 years since that agent told me to reach out. Should I still? Yes, absolutely you should. It's all of this, like, when I'm talking about playing small is all of this internal turmoil over should I, shouldn't I, what should I do? Just kind of like stressing over what to do instead of finding a place where you can be confident and strong and standing in your power and knowing that, hey, yeah, this is what I want. And hey, guess what else? That's what I deserve. And I'm going to go after it. And I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to take the action and pursue the opportunities that have been presented to me, even if maybe this opportunity was initially 5 years ago. This is an agent who expressed interest in my work. I'm going to reach back out and say, hey, do you remember me from blah, blah, blah conference X number of years ago? My manuscript is almost ready. These essays have already been published. I have 3 more to write. I thought it would be a good time to reconnect. And just grabbing the opportunity and grabbing the thing that you want instead of holding back. And I think that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying, like, let's stop playing small. Let's stop holding back. There's no reason to hold back because these people are just people. You know, agents are just people and they are looking for projects. The only way they make money is when they sell books to publishers. And so they are always on a quest to look for things that they can sell. And if you're a person who generates things that could be sold, somebody's looking for you. And maybe it sounds crass to put it in those capitalistic terms, like agents make money when they sell books. And if you're a person who generates something that can be sold, that is very basic, fundamental, like capitalistic system. Maybe that sounds a little crass when we're in this like artistic, creative space, but that's the way the world works, and we can learn how to stay true to ourselves and work in that system. And one of the best ways to do that is to not play small and to go after what you want. And when opportunities present themselves, you say, yes, please. And you nominate yourself and you raise your hand and you step up and you take a step forward and you go after it. And maybe that doesn't work out, but now you're practicing what it feels like to do that, and you can do it easier. It'll come much more naturally the next time something comes up for you. So it just was so funny to me the way this woman, when we were talking, says to me, well, I kind of have an agent. And I just was like, what does that even mean? And when she had explained that somebody had already expressed interest in her work, I was like, yeah, girl, go after it. Do that now. Find out if there's anyone else who would like to express interest in your work. Get after it. Your personal hype woman right here. That's me. That's what you get with me on this show. That's what you get with me if you work with me in person. Your very own personal hype woman. And if you need a little bit more of that, check out the masterclass I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, moretothestory.co/masterclass. And I'm going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. You can follow me on Instagram at Janna Marlise. You can follow Under the Gumtree on Instagram at Under Gumtree. Don't forget to visit cafesantoro.com/Janna for 10% off your first purchase of coffee, whole bean roasted coffee from a boutique coffee roaster in Northern California, aka my mom and dad. And the theme song is written and performed by my husband, Jeremy Maron. And if you are into the existential wine life, follow him on Instagram at Existential Wine Guy. This is More to the Story. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you soon on the next episode.